Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. I got a very interesting show set up for you. Yeah, we got to talk about old Lane Kiffin. Who's he going to choose? And it would appear one team is surging right now. Yeah, this has been a very difficult couple of weeks for Ole Miss fans. Not an experience that I am foreign to. As a Tennessee fan, I know exactly how you feel, Ole Miss. I have a tremendous amount of empathy for you. Not sympathy, empathy. And there's a difference. The Lane Kiffin sweepstakes have gone into high drama. It looked like Florida was the interloper that was going to swoop in and steal him from Ole Miss. And of course, I've shown you where I believe Florida is the Regina George of college football. And she basically thinks she's going to do whatever she wants. And if she sees a boyfriend that you've got and she likes that dude, she's going to take him. Well, it turns out there's another Regina George out there that's even more powerful, perhaps. And that would be the LSU Tigers. Now, at the time Florida was swooping in, LSU was busy firing Brian Kelly, and then there was the lawsuit over the $50 million they owe him. Governor stepped in, all of that. So a lot of people thought, oh, there's a big mess there. Lane's not going to go there under those circumstances. Well, obviously, he's looked past that. And now we know the decision's going to come after the Egg Bowl. We talked about that about 3 or 4 days ago, that it had to be around that time, and then now they've come out and announced that. The reason being, there are so many dates involved, December 3rd being the National Signing Day for scholarships, but also there's a lot of coaches out there that need to know what's going to happen. Lane is the linchpin for so many other coaches, and Jimmy Sexton is his agent. And Jimmy's over there going, look, you need to make a decision because I got a bunch of other coaches that I represent, and I want to make them a crap load of money. And you don't want to get in the way of Jimmy Sexton and his money because you'll draw back a nub. He doesn't play. So Lane's obviously got 2 pressures on him to make a decision. Now, I believe Jimmy wants him to go to LSU, but the big thing is the money. LSU has really put together an offer that's significant, $90 to $98 million over 7 years. And $25 million a year in NIL, which is a lot. Now, Ole Miss is not far from that. I believe they put 20 in this year. So if they're willing to put 20 in, they're not far away. And to have all the autonomy he's going to have at Ole Miss, he should stay. That's what I would like him to do. Stay where you're at and quit creaking people. But that's what the guy does. And right now, the odds are in LSU's favor. As you can see, Lane Kiffin is the betting favorite to become the next head coach at LSU, according to Kalshi and several sports books. He's also, of course, a top candidate for the Florida Gators. We know that. Kalshi has it a 70% implied probability to become the next head coach. It says in the past, Kalshi had given Kiffin a 55% probability of becoming the next football coach at Florida. However, that has changed. And here it says, yes, Lane Kiffin's odds to coach Florida have declined as LSU has emerged as the major suitor and the consensus favorite to landing. Obviously, still a Florida top target, but I'm starting to see the name Jedd Fisch pop up a lot from Washington as a possible Florida favorite. And it talks about how LSU has pulled ahead. Reports from CBS and ESPN indicate that LSU has gained momentum. And they're saying Florida is now running 3rd in the sweepstakes behind LSU and Ole Miss. And here's the offer. LSU reportedly finalized a deal that could be worth up to $98 million over 7 years. And here they talk about Jedd Fisch and Eli Drinkwitz gaining momentum for Florida. Now, does that mean he doesn't stay at Ole Miss? No, he could stay at Ole Miss. He could go to Florida. I mean, anything could happen in these sweepstakes because these are percentage odds. They're not 100%. Only Lane knows where he's going. And he may not even made a decision yet because he's getting tons of offers thrown at him every day from these 3 different entities, and I'm sure they're increasing them as they go.
I'm sorry that people are so jealous of me, but I can't help it that I'm popular.
And he's using this leverage to get everything he could possibly get for a coach, honestly. One thing that does concern me, Locked on Ole Miss has been talking about this, and pretty much Stephen Willis has been the go-to for me when it comes to Ole Miss football, and he's been on top of this. And he's starting to get his viewers kind of squared away that this might not, now he doesn't know for sure whether or not Lane's going to stay at Ole Miss or go to LSU or even Florida. But he's he's starting to try to be responsible and say, we need to prepare ourselves either way.
Understand this. Lane could absolutely stay at Ole Miss, but nothing in the last 48 hours resembles the actions of a coach that's confidently committed to remaining in Oxford. So today we're going to speculate responsibly about what comes next if he doesn't. All of this and more on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, it's starting out on Sunday with Lane's jet setting his family to open SEC jobs to check out the towns of what's going on. You're starting to get wind of offers and numbers that are out there as well. And it very much looks like he's going to end up at LSU. I mean, that's where the tea leaves are pointing right now. And that puts Keith Carter in a weird position, who today has a meeting with Lane Kiffin scheduled on the books. Now, I don't know if that's anything of consequence, if it's just a...
Yeah, so that's what you're hearing a lot of people talk about. And again, that's a tough spot because you don't want to be the guy that is saying, oh, he's going to stay, and tell everybody what they want to hear at Ole Miss. You got to tell them what you're hearing. Now, I still think there's a very legitimate chance, and I'm sure he does too, that he's going to stay at Ole Miss because that's the easy thing to do. And it's the smart thing to do. I can't even believe he's considered, well, I should take that back. LSU is a great job. You get the whole state to yourself. All the money goes to LSU. You don't have to fight with other colleges or universities there in Louisiana. And you have a rabid fan base and all that. And it's all about you all the time. The only competitor are the Saints, and they play on Sunday. So I do get that. And the whole state's filled with 5 stars and 4 stars. The only jobs that are better probably would be Texas or Georgia. So Ole Miss is kind of, again, they're fighting Regina George. It's just kind of the way it is. And then on High Top Sports, they just came out with a video not a day or two ago, Florida fading. Nobody for Florida's covered this any heavier than High Top Sports. And that video kind of gave me a clue of, okay, if they're talking about it, it's getting pretty serious. And then you're seeing other LSU YouTubers literally putting videos that ask, is it done? Is this deal getting close to done? So right now it definitely appears to be leaning LSU. And here's the other reason that I think Florida's in third. Strickland doesn't like Lane. The AD at Florida, he does not like Lane Kiffin worth a crap as a person. He just doesn't like his style, the trolling, all that kind of stuff. He's just not into that. He liked the way Billy Napier was, very by the book, never color outside the lines and all that sort of stuff. He doesn't like that freewheeling crap that Lane Kiffin does. So Strickland may not be pushing as hard as he probably would if he liked him. I think LSU's new AD, of course, they fired their AD over the $50 million. He knows that would be a good hire, a really good hire. Lane would be a really good hire when it comes to winning and losing. That's pretty obvious. So that's where we stand right now. That is the Lane update. I think he's leaning pretty heavily LSU. Second place would be Ole Miss. Third would be Florida. I'm hoping he stays at Ole Miss. I really hope his family gets with him and says, hey, you got it great here. Do we have to put a collage together and make you cry again? And he winds up staying. That could happen. But if not, he's not going to coach the playoffs. You just might as well know that. He's going to be the first coach ever to walk away from a team in the middle of possibly winning a national title or having a shot at one, which is perfect for Lane because he's all about sabotaging his reputation. That's just what he finally kind of rebuilt it a little bit with the whole I'm doing yoga and I'm changing my life and doing all these things. And I never bought it. And if you watch this show, you know I've never bought it. And this is why. Here he is. He's Lane. He's going to do this kind of crap. As a Tennessee fan, I know it full well.
Thanks for coming, guys. This was not an easy decision. This is something that happened very quick. A decision that myself and my family made. And we've been here 14 months. The support has been unbelievable here. I really believe that this is probably the only place that I would have left here to go, was to go to Southern Cal.
So anyway, I wanted to give you an update on this, and you shouldn't trust him. He's going to do what Lane wants to do. He's not going to do the common sense thing. But here's the reality. No matter what he chooses, it's going to be a great job. If he stays at Ole Miss, clearly he's turned that into a great job. Florida's a great job. Much as I don't like Florida, It's a great job, and the fan base is incredible. LSU is a fantastic job too. I mean, the worst thing that could have happened to Florida was have LSU pop into this, because this is why they should have let Billy Napier go last year. They would have had first crack at Lane Kiffin and probably gotten him. But you waited around and you let Billy stay another year, and now you're going to get the second place guy or the third place guy or the fourth place guy. And given how low and how bad the Florida fan base feels right now, that's probably not going to go over real well, because here's the thing about Regina George. She doesn't handle disappointment well. Yeah, it's going to be ugly. I'll just go ahead and tell you the Florida fans are going to be pissed off. You might as well prepare yourself for it. But it's something we'll just have to deal with. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, boom, boom. Hit that button right there. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you will enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.
Stay here. Stay as long as you can. For the love of God, cherish it.